Long ago, beyond the silent marsh and the valley of echoes, there stood a lonely village called Elderwood. In that village lived a young man named Rowan. He was only 23, but his spirit felt older than winter. Rowan dreamed of becoming a great painter, a master whose work would be remembered for generations. Yet he never lifted a single brush. Every morning he would whisper to himself, "Tomorrow, tomorrow I will begin." But tomorrow, as it always does, never came. While the other villagers worked the fields, forged iron, and mended their homes, Rowan wandered. He slept under the shade of ancient oaks, watched the clouds drift by, and waited for a grand wave of inspiration that never arrived. He told himself he was resting, preparing his mind for greatness. He thought he had all the time in the world, but every single night, just outside his window, a shadow watched him. It had no eyes, no face, just a shape that curled and twisted like black smoke. And each night, while Rowan slept, the shadow fed on something he couldn't see. Something he never noticed was missing: his days. One evening, as twilight settled over Elderwood, an old traveler arrived. His cloak was torn from a long journey, and his beard was as white as fresh snowfall. He saw Rowan aimlessly walking near the village well and stopped him. With a grave look, he said, "Child, beware the time eater. It follows those who waste their hours. It's a patient hunter, and its hunger is endless." Rowan just forced a laugh. "An old wives' tale," he replied, waving the traveler off dismissively. "A bedtime story for children." But that night, something was different. As Rowan prepared for bed, he glanced into the mirror on his wall and froze. His reflection seemed changed. His face looked slightly older, his eyes tired and heavy, his skin dull, and the bright spark in his spirit had dimmed. A jolt of panic shot through him, but only for a moment. He quickly shook his head. "It's probably just exhaustion," he muttered, trying to reassure himself. "I'll feel better after some rest. I'll start my work tomorrow." Again, tomorrow. And in the darkness outside, the shadow that watched him seemed to smile. The seasons turned. Snow melted into spring streams. Summer leaves turned to autumn gold and fell to the ground. Festivals came and went, filling Elderwood with music and laughter. Through it all, Rowan kept waiting for the right moment. The perfect sunrise, the perfect mood, the perfect idea. He was a ship waiting for a tide that would never rise, and while he delayed, the shadow grew. It became enormous, its form swollen, and bloated with all the hours, hopes, and dreams it had devoured from Rowan's life. One stormy night, as the wind howled and rain lashed against his window, Rowan finally broke. He looked at his empty easel, at his untouched paints, and a deep, agonizing despair washed over him. He cried out into the darkness of his room, "Who are you? What do you want from me?" The shadow rose from the floor, no longer a faint wisp, but a dark, towering ocean of blackness. Its voice was not a sound, but a cold, echoing feeling that filled the room. "I take only what you abandon. You do nothing. So I eat your life." Terrified, Rowan screamed, his voice cracking with desperation. "Take anything but give me back my time." The shadow's answer was chilling and absolute. "Time returns to no one. You spend it, or I consume it. There is no third choice." For the first time in his life, true panic seized Rowan. He scrambled to his easel. He grabbed a brush, his hands trembling violently. He was desperate to paint, desperate to create, desperate to simply begin. But his hands were unsteady. His eyes, once sharp, were now weak and strained. His talent, which he once felt burning inside him, was now a distant, fading memory, like a dream you can't quite hold on to after waking. Time had taken its price. When dawn finally broke, painting the sky in soft shades of gray and pink, the shadow whispered its final words, a cold truth that settled deep into Rowan's bones. Those who refuse to live will be swallowed by the days they waste. Then it vanished completely because its work was done. The villagers later found Rowan sitting by his unused paint jars, silent tears streaming down his old weathered cheeks. He finally picked up the brush, his hand shaking, and began to paint. But now he painted with regret instead of wonder, with sorrow instead of joy. The masterpiece he had once imagined, the vibrant canvas full of life and passion, would never be born. He started ace, but he had started years too late. The moral of this tale is a simple, yet powerful one. Laziness is never idle. When you think you are doing nothing, something is still happening. Your dreams are shrinking, your chances are rotting away, and your precious time is being eaten. Not by a monster in the dark, but by your own delay. There is only one protection against the time eater. Only one shield against a life of regret. Start today. Start now, before you have nothing left to start with. Thank you for watching. If this story resonated with you, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel for more content that makes you think. We'll see you in the next one.